When people ask me, Jack, do you hate Arsenal Football Club? Historically, I would have said they're all right. You know, there's worse teams out there. I don't love them. Now I'm really starting to hate them. Not only have they ruined the Premier League by winning that league title on the final day, they've now only bloody gone and signed Balbuena from me. I'm absolutely fuming. The 27-year-old goalkeeper was part of the goalkeeping dilemma that we had. And yeah, he's decided to join Arsenal, which is annoying in itself because I'm busy wheeling and dealing. And on top of all of that, well, we're going to have to settle for Dennis, who I think was probably the popular choice in goal. But that dilemma I had, the decision's been made for me. Dennis, you were my first choice all along. Definitely. Now, I am in the process of just playing through the save game to get to the bit where the season tick-over date happens. Liverpool have offered me a job interview. Liverpool, you know, we could go to my hometown club, my favourite club. Media prediction of second last year, finished sixth. They've got some quite good footballers, haven't they, here at this Liverpool team? A few players who have made me very, very unhappy over the years. You know what? As much as it's tempting, I am going to have to decline the interview, aren't I? As you can already see by the ins and outs, I am busy getting some early wheeling and dealing done, getting some scouts sorted as well. We were lacking staff. And we're wheeling and dealing ongoing. I think you know what time it is. It is the transfer special for the summer of season number 13. We're going to run the intro, get straight into things. We've got money to burn, and I really want to strengthen the team. Let's do this. Yes, folks, how is it going? Welcome back to Park to Prem. Today is episode number 102. It is a transfer special. You can see in the top corner, it's the 25th of June in game. I've played to the season tick-over date, which means we have our new media prediction of 4th. The board expects a Champions League finish. And when you look at this little preview, I want to believe we should be getting onto it. Celik, you can see here, top of the key players in the Premier League. Look who's in the media Dream 11 in goal. I feel like every time I play Arsenal, this guy's going to annoy me. Now, as you saw before, I am in the progress of wheeling and dealing. A couple of players I wanted to get rid of have turned down potential moves, so there's definitely more sales to happen, but we have potentially £100 million worth of sales to open up today's episode. A few of these I can confirm. One of these I need to make a decision on. The one I need to make a decision on is this one here. Karim Konate, 31 years old, turns 32 this coming year. We signed him on a free transfer. Only 6 goals in 25 Premier League games. I do feel like there could potentially be better striking options out there. He's a little down the pecking order in terms of strikers in our team. And given his age, given his kind of performance in the year just gone, this bid of £37 million from Sevilla is really, really tempting. Apparently he has no interest in a move in Sevilla. Before I delayed this offer and stalled it to the start of this episode, I feel like he did want to go to them. So I'm going to accept this, but first I'm going to try and persuade him that Sevilla would be a really, really good move. And the good news is I've told him it'd be a good move, and he bloody agrees. Right, Konate, please go. I feel like £37 million for him is rather good. Elsewhere, there's 3 players whose sales I can just confirm now. I've been procrastinating a little bit, delaying all these sales, because I wanted to get to the season tick-over date, so when I go on the transfer history screen, they actually appear on this season's thing. Does anyone else get annoyed by it, where you have sales that happen at the end of the year that show up on the year before? It annoys me a little bit. Speaking of which, there is one player that has already left the building. Conor Geoghegan, young Scottish player, signed on a free transfer, never really played for us. I've got 13 million for him. I feel like that's just good business. But anyway, circling back to the players that I'm about to sell and starting with Kenji. The 21-year-old is undoubtedly a good player with some serious potential, but ultimately, we've got really good depth in the defensive area. We've got better backup fullbacks out there. £15 million to him is some really healthy profit, so I'm going to ask for this deal to be confirmed right now. If I'm not mistaken, there is a sell-on clause as well in this contract. Yes, indeed there is. So if he does move on for some profit, we will get 30% of it back. The next sale we have is Murphy Ngoma. 299 league appearances for us. He will not hit 300, I'm afraid to say. Entering the final year of his contract, doesn't want to sign a new deal. I don't want to lose him for nothing. It is a bit of a sad moment for us, especially after a really good recent season. Last year, of course, he did absolutely naff all in 7 appearances. This year, he's actually featured in the team a fair amount and done stuff for us, but sadly, with his contract up, £19 million is just too good to turn down. So again, asking for confirmation. He is taking the Jordan Henderson route and going to Saudi Arabia. Enjoy your money. And last but not least of these sales that we have to do is the biggest of the bunch, £50 million for Fabien Riviere. This guy has been a good player for us over the years. We signed him for £6 million, and whilst he's been a dependable player in the first team, I am looking to bring in a new defensive midfielder, and with him, well, being ousted from the first team, I want Mark Anderson to be kind of the second choice option. So with that in mind, it made sense to sell him, especially because he wants a new contract, and I don't want to give him a new contract. £50 million for him. 50. I feel like that's a really good deal. I'll let you guys be the judge. I've hit confirm on it. He's gone. Now you can see here, we are on the day where the season has just ticked over. The fixtures have been announced. Leicester is our first league game of the year, followed by Aston Villa, Wolves, Crystal Palace, West Ham. That's a nice kind start to the season. We've not had that in a little while. Elsewhere, you can see here our under-18s and under-21s have been invited to participate in leagues again. Annoyingly, I don't know why this is the case, my under-21s aren't getting moved to the Premier League under-21 division. I guess it's something to do with the database and how Football Manager works, well, with youth teams. I know youth teams in general are always a bit finicky. Our team is just destined to be stuck in this youth team setup forever. You can see here, in Division 3, we're quite good. Our under-21s have won it the last 6 years. And speaking of youth teams doing really, really well, look at this. The UEFA Youth League for the season just gone, we won. Yeah, the Rugby Town under-18s beat Rennes in the final. Absolutely massive for us. I don't know if this really means a great deal. I'm going to claim that it definitely does, though. Yeah, up the under-18s. When I look through this team, besides maybe Swainston, and below him, you can see here Chris Bray. I don't think any of these players ever have a shot of making it into the first team, but it's good to see the academy doing things. You can also see here a few players who had already agreed to sign new contracts at the end of the year have had their new deals kick in. That is good to see. We've got a few different bits and bobs here in terms of clauses kicking in. John Lomax has a yearly wage rise of 10%. Okay, I was wondering if it was a staff member. The good news is his contract's gone up by £200. I think we can financially recover from that. Okay, so the sales are officially confirmed. Iwanami has left the building for £15 million. Elsewhere, the other sales ongoing, you can see here, are going to go through on the 1st of July. In a week's time, transfer windows around the world will open. There's probably a few more players I need to look to move on. That said, I have been planning for the upcoming season and formulating a plan. This is the plan that I've got. I don't know if I like this plan or not, but ultimately, I feel like we need to change stuff up. Not necessarily because I'm unhappy with the tactical system, but mostly because I need to get Alex into the first team playing more. This 19-year-old, capped for Brazil, has shown some absolutely insane development during his first year at the club without playing a load of first-team football. He has great crossing and dribbling, which for a regen wing-back basically makes him like a unicorn. Wish his passing was a little bit better, but we're training him in that. And I feel like I need to get him in the team and help him try and fulfill all of the potential that our staff think he has. Now, the obvious way to solve this is to move Bolton up into the midfield, and I saw a few comments about this last season saying, Jack, train Bolton to play defensive midfielder, but the issue with doing that is, by adding another position to his kind of repertoire, it's going to eat into his current ability, and given the fact that he's already hit, I imagine, his potential at this point, he's not really shown any development in the last few years. In training him in another position, it's going to make him a worse footballer. So, instead of training him to play as a defensive midfielder, I've made the decision to move the deep line playmaker to be a roaming playmaker in the middle. Now, this does suddenly make the system feel a lot more attacking, so as a result of that, the right wing back is now on support. But I feel like at least to start the year, it's maybe worth just experimenting with something like this. If there was a really great attacking talent that came along, another option might be to move Misiak to play as a roaming playmaker in the middle, and then maybe just move Bolton back to right back, and Alex becomes a super sub again. But I do feel like in making this change, it just opens up a few options. I don't really want to change things in the final third. I don't really want to change the defence because I'm pretty happy with it. But in terms of the midfield, I did discuss, didn't I, the possibility of signing a new deep line playmaker. Bolton as a roaming playmaker. Is that the most crazy idea? I know his passing isn't the greatest, but his physicals, his mentals are just really well suited to this role. And to be honest, roaming playmaker is just one of the most demanding roles in Football Manager. I feel like you never get a player that does everything in this role. So I think I'm going to experiment a little with this just during pre-season. If it doesn't work out, we can just go back to what we were playing before. If it does work out, fantastic. I feel like this maybe just opens up some new opportunities with the team to give some of the younger defenders a bit more game time. I have also here, you can see, blocked out a bench for the team. Ignore Lucas Schumacher, he will not be here for much longer. I had already agreed a sale of £20 million for him, and then he turned down the move to Saudi Arabia. There is some interest in him, and given the fact that we have a new signing to confirm in Dennis, he is going to be going soon. In fact, while we're here, you know what? Let's ask to sign Dennis now. I want Dennis on the bench. Welcome, Dennis. B- signing. Not the greatest, but he's got a load of potential, this guy. He's 23 years old. I think he's going to be a great backup goalkeeper who could definitely step into the first team. I mean, he's Spain's national team goalkeeper. He can't be that bad. I do feel a little bit sad moving Schumacher off the bench. I feel like it's the end of an era, but Dennis is a really good backup goalkeeper. Alongside him on the bench, of course, we've got the likes of NDIA, who's a great versatile defender. Mosquera is a very, very good right wing back in his own regard. Of course, between Mosquera, Alex and Bolton, there's a lot of competition on the right full-back position, so having Bolton move into the midfield maybe helps with that slightly. Elsewhere on the bench, Rodriguez is here right now. I think I need to sell Rodriguez, though. This guy is 23 years old. I rate him really, really highly, but he broke his ankle last year, and it really set back his development, and I just don't think I can get him near the first team. And with some really, really good young defenders in our ranks, like Bailey Salmon, who is only 18 years old, I think Rodriguez might just have to be the collateral damage. I have had a lot of interest in him. I've been trying to negotiate a favourable bid. I think anything north of 45 million, and I would just take it for him. In terms of the rest of the bench as well, you can see here, we've got Mark Anderson, of course, another great young player, the 19-year-old Danish international, sits alongside Gilliland as kind of two of the younger midfielders in the team with some serious potential. In fact, when you look at the bench here, you can see the 5-star potential is strong on our bench, and I want to make sure these players get first-team football. Maybe you could argue I should loan them out to get them as much first-team possible, playing for other teams. But I do feel like we can offer them that regular football. And another player who I think will get football this year is Sinkule. Of course, he was on loan in the Championship last year for Bristol City, got promoted with them. I did offer him back to Bristol City. They didn't want to take him back, and given the fact that Kanate is potentially on his way out the building for £37 million, I feel like David Sinkule, to be honest, could come in and just be the immediate backup striker. He's 21 years old, a little bit of potential. We can see how he gets on. I guess the only minor concern with David is he is 21, so how much is he going to be able to fulfill this potential that he allegedly has? And on top of that, he's only got 2 years left on his current deal. Probably need to get him to sign a new deal. When I did ask him about a new contract, he wanted £115,000 to £140,000 a week. That is a lot of money, and whilst the wages at the club have started to creep up and up and up, you can kind of see here, this has happened in the last year, more and more players on over £100,000, Sinkule is not a player who I'm prepared to give that much money to. He doesn't deserve it. Probably worth noting as well, at this current moment in time, our committed spend on wages is only just under the wage budget. We have got £136 million, I have to admit, with all the sales we've just done, so I probably should just rejig the money slightly. But yeah, we are going to have some money to strengthen the team this year. It's worth noting that despite all the sales I've made, the squad size is still at 28 players. I need to get rid of Schumacher. I need to get rid of Rodriguez. Another player who I think I'm going to sell this year is Matthew Martin. Had really high hopes for this guy. Model citizen player, 20 years old with caps for Scotland. But he's not really developed since he joined the club. I feel like he might be one of those players who's hit his potential early. So I'm going to offer him out. We signed him, I think, for around £6 to £8 million. Yeah, you can see here, £8 million. He's just not played nearly enough for us. And with some better younger centre-backs out there, I feel like I need to try and cash in on him. Ethan Gangolf, fantastic name. Intermediary suggestion. Is he good? I mean, apparently he's a world-class midfielder. I'm very underwhelmed. I feel like the main aim for right now is to get to the 1st of July, try and cash in on some players. It's worth noting that because we're coming back further through pre-season, it's not actually that long until the start of the season begins. You know, the Community Shield, which we do play in, it's not a million miles away. Oh, okay, this is exciting. This is a big moment in the save game. Rugby Town are proud to announce the completion of the club's move to the Rugby Town Stadium. Here it is in all its glory. We will get it its own bespoke picture in the near future. It holds 24,000 fans. Can we get the full details on the ground? How much can we expand it to? 36,000. I mean, it's a beautiful sight, isn't it? to have a new stadium. Yeah, I'll get some bespoke artwork done for it in the near future. I do wonder if we should rename the stadium. If you've got any ideas for the stadium name, what it should be called. I know I asked 2 years ago. It's been a while since then. Maybe you've got some more new relevant ideas. Would it be wrong to name it after Ngoma, even though he's about to leave the club to join Saudi Arabia? I feel like he at least deserves a stand named after him. I don't know, if you've got any stadium name ideas, answers on a postcard, leave them down below. Might be a little bit premature to do this. Stadium, expand stadium. Can we make it bigger, please? 24,000, we are going to sell out quickly. Rodriguez has been linked with a move to Leicester City. Rodriguez, please go to Leicester City. Leicester City have a tycoon owner in this save game. Pay the 48 million and they can have him. You can see here, I've got a few different work permits going on here. I'm looking to get in some new staff members and also renewing existing staff members' contracts. Yeah, I had that inbox item come up like 2 weeks before the end of the year where it's like, hey, all these people have contracts expiring, and you think, oh my word, that's half my staff. They're all being renewed. I'm on top of it. Speaking of staff members, if you're wondering, Jack, how's Ian Williamson doing? You know, I feel like we need an Ian update every summer. The former assistant manager, now at Forest Green Rovers. For the year just gone, they finished 19th, which, considering their media prediction for this year is 23rd, means he must be doing an okay job. Okay, we've had some offers here. I'll tell you what, Leicester heard me. Leicester heard me. Apparently he has no interest in joining Leicester. You should have some... Leicester's a lovely football club. They've won a Premier League. I know you got your heart set on moving to Paris FC, but the offer from Leicester would be a more lucrative one for us. He does like the club, so I feel like that should be on his mind. He has no interest. I'll insist. Please, mate. Do it for the club. Do it for the club. He wants to go to Paris. Paris haven't even made a bid. I'm going to accept the Leicester offer and issue an ultimatum to the other clubs. I have no idea if either of the other clubs are going to be able to afford the 47 million. There's still a very small part of me that hopes he will just go to Leicester. But apparently he doesn't like foxes. Now, I did just discuss with Haddad the possibility of signing him to a new contract. Haddad's contract is up in 2 years' time. He wants between 160 and 190 £1,000 a week. That is actually absolutely ridiculous, isn't it? Like, that is a stupid amount of money for him to think he is worth. Given the fact we've just signed Dennis, I don't feel like that's necessary, so I'm not going to do it. Also, there's this guy here, Alexei Diudone, Alex. We'll just call him Alex number 2. This guy's available, maybe. I was looking at the players that my scouts have kind of looked at and rated the highest. This guy's got 1 year left on his current deal with Rennes. He's an absolutely ridiculous winger, but you could definitely just play him at attacking midfielder, couldn't you? Like, he'd definitely just slot into this system for our team. He's very, very good. If I did sign him, he might be the player that makes Misiak move back into roaming playmaker. The issue I've got is they want between 137 and 159,000 pounds for him. Man City are apparently interested. He's the kind of player who, if he goes to Man City, I think I end up having a breakdown every year as he scores against us. 137 to 159 million. It's a lot of money, but it might not be completely unaffordable with the sales we've got going on. I don't know if it's what I need, but he's just very good, isn't he? 26 years old. He is going to be 27 soonish. It's a lot of money to spend. Then again, you can see here he will generate £6 million in marketing revenue every year. Oh, I shouldn't do it, but I kind of like the look of him. But his contract's up in a year. He might just be available as a free transfer in 6 months. I can't justify the money. I feel like last year I could justify it with Chelik because we didn't already have a Chelik. But actually, we now have a Chelik who I'd argue is a slightly better player anyway. And yeah, Alex, I don't need him. I want him, I don't need him. Now, I have just recalled Souleymane Kamara from his loan early. I need to sell this guy. I need to get some interest in him. He'd prefer to stay at Rugby Town, but he's willing to speak to other clubs. 22 years old. If I can get even like £30 million, I think I'd take it for this guy. He's been here forever, hasn't he? I feel like he's not really improved that much in the last few years. I don't know, is that a harsh assessment? Kind of if we look at his development in the last 2 years? He's really not improved that much. Hopefully we get some interest in Kamara. You can see here, Rodriguez, who we did offer out to Augsburg and Leipzig for the £47 million that Leicester bid. They've both turned that down, so that's annoying. And elsewhere, no interest in Matthew Martin. I've asked for 18 million. I might be being a bit ambitious. Let's try 15 with a sell-on clause. I am absolutely fuming. Karim Konate has turned down a contract from Sevilla. Well, you could say that is severely disappointing. Severely? Never mind. I'm going to offer him out again and just see if there's any bids. Oh, that's annoying. 37 million for him would have been really good. Still no offers for Martin, which is a little bit disappointing. I'm going to transfer list him just to see if that gets us any interest. I have had a bid here for Suleimane Kamara. It's £27 million. It's not as much as I was necessarily hoping for, but it is actually quite a good offer. I don't think he's not a £27 million player, is he? He's just not. I'm going to have to accept it. It's a lot of money. I will offer him out for a little bit more just to see if I can get a bidding war going. But fundamentally, I said 30 million, didn't I? 27 million's good enough for him. I know some of you are probably thinking, Jack, are you actually going to sign anyone today? That is the plan, but I feel like I need to get rid of players before I bring in players and also work out how much money am I actually going to be able to generate to then spend. Because, I'd love to go out and spend £100 million on one player, but if I can't make any further sales, that is going to be a problem. You can see here, there's a load of youngsters through the academy that I've just let the contracts expire on. A little bit sad, but they've just not fulfilled their potential. Also, some players coming back from loans. Some of these I will look to move on. Is there anything interesting going on here? Warren, 5-year deal. Yeah, he's here for the foreseeable future as our third choice homegrown at club goalkeeper. I actually quite like the look of him. The fans hate me, and Goma's left. They've given it an E. He's going to be missed around the club. I hate it. It makes me sad. I love the fact, by the way, his media description is late developer. That fills like my heart with warmth. The fact that we actually managed to get one of those players who developed later in their career to join us. Of course, he joined us, having been released by Crystal Palace, climbed all the way up with us. I think this might be the first time I've ever seen the late developer media description. That's very cool. Of course, Riviere has also left the club. £50 million for him. Fans aren't that happy about it, but I think once we get in a replacement, they will be happy. Speaking of which, Alex, Man City have made a bid. How much have they bid? 107 million that could rise to 140. Is it bad that I just feel like I should make a bid here? I know I should. Well, I say I know I shouldn't. Maybe I should. If I want to win the Premier League this year, he is a bit of a statement signing, but it is also just denying Man City a player. Man City are already the favourites to win the league. If they sign this guy as well, I'm in trouble. I don't even think I can compete with Man City for his signature, but I almost feel like I have to try. Okay, I think Man City bid around 110 million that was rising to 140. I'll do something similar. You know what? I will pay 110 million now, and then it'll go up to 30 million over the course of 3 years. How does that sound? They didn't like it. Okay, I'm not going higher than this. I will offer them £155 million. I'm literally signing him because I don't want Man City to have him. I don't know if that's necessarily a good attitude to have. He would obviously also just fit quite well into our system. It's so much money, though. There are a few players that have returned from loan spells that I need to try and sell. Players like Thomas Orovec here. I have no idea how much we're realistically going to be able to get for him, but I'll offer him out and hope that we get some interest. Probably should also remove him from the loan list. I don't want to loan him out again. FC Copenhagen decided not to sign Rene Hansen as well, so we need to try and sell him too. I will transfer list him and offer him out. And another player I feel like we should just be selling for any price possible is Joffrey Rasset. When I signed this guy, I thought he had really good potential, and he's just not lived up to it. We've given him a chance to develop. He's not developed. I just need some money. He's in the last year of his contract. Transfer story leaked. The world know that I want to sign Alex. I hope they don't know I'm about to pay £155 million for him. I'm hoping I can sign him and just lie about the amount we've paid so people don't think I've overpaid. Always nice when you see familiar faces on the players released here. Philip Bungard, the world's greatest regista. Long-term viewers of the Twitch streams that I used to do. If you know, you know. If you don't know, very good regista, this man. I know what you're thinking, he's not a regista. In one universe he was, I swear. The stadium has been finished for like a week, and we've already now agreed to expand it to 32,000 seats. It will begin work at the end of the year and be done by October 2036. Happy days. Suppose it is a little bit concerning. It's been expanded to 32,000 seats. That's only 4,000 seats short of the capacity that we can expand it to. Are we going to need to build like another new stadium in 10 years? Probably. No offers for Karim Kanate. Sevilla have really ruined things for us here, haven't they? Sevilla, you've ruined my holiday. I'll offer him out for 40 million. Apparently a Rodriguez transfer saga is set to develop. I mean, Leicester are still talking to him. He said he didn't want to go to Leicester. Maybe they can convince him to join. I really want 47 million for him. Oh no, Ren have accepted the offer for Alex. He wants £300,000. How much is Chelik on? 200,000. Oh, I feel like this is an awful idea, and yet I feel like I have to do it if I can afford it. I just don't want him to go to Man City. And I know that should never be like the driving force behind making a signing. But I feel like signing him so Man City can't. Just mate, he's very good, isn't he? He is very, very... It's not like he's a bad player. He wants so much money. So much money. It physically hurts me to look through this contract offer. He wanted 350,000. I don't want to give him 300. He really wants 350,000. I can't afford it. We're poor here. He really wants that much. I mean, maybe if these are his demands, maybe he just won't go to Man City. Maybe I don't need to sign him. Why am I doing this? I tell you what, he really wants 350,000. He's very much attached to that idea. Oh, what am I doing? What have I got myself into? I need to rejig it more here. Give me more wage budget. I can't go above 300,000. This is silly, innit? There's a point at which I should be stopping, and there's probably some of you screaming at home, stop! Stop! I'm not listening to you. You can't make me stop. The only thing that can make me stop here is if I can't actually sign him. Which, I'll be honest, given how this is currently going, it could still happen. I'll tell you what, if you get 30 goals in the league, I'll give you 2.9 million. And if you get 30 assists, I'll give you 2.9 million as well. You know what? I think I've been saved from myself there. That's a ridiculous contract, isn't it? I couldn't have offered him more. I feel like other teams are going to struggle to sign him. And given the fact he's in his last year, maybe we can just sign him on a free. When he scores against me for Man City in the league later on this year, I'm going to look back on this moment. I mean, in terms of players we've got scouted that want to join me, he is comfortably rated as one of the best, is Alexi. He's a great player. The fee is just too much, isn't it? The other player in this list, by the way, slightly cheaper, Ibrahima Diop. This guy's a very, very good striker, isn't he? He plays for Valencia. He's also in the last year of his contract currently. Manchester United won him. I feel like in older FMs, these kind of players would be available on free transfers in January, but now the game is a lot better at ensuring these kind of players don't go to market. Although, you know what? Like in real life, Mbappe's about to move on a free, so maybe some of these players will move on frees too. I feel like that's really, really wishful thinking. I need to know if Rodriguez is going, and I need to know if Kamara's going. I need money, basically, before I know what to do with stuff. I mean, we've got a few loan offers for various players here that I'm happy to take. One player who I want to sell is Ayrton here. No one wants to buy Ayrton. It's very annoying. Let's make him unavailable for loan. I've already transfer listed him. I'll make him cheaper. Actually, I say all of that. Missed this. We already had offers for him that I hadn't seen. Hull, 3.5 million. Yeah, you can have him for that. We'll issue an ultimatum to the other clubs too. Have had some £3 million offers for Rasset as well. I'm going to take them. And Orovec, we've actually had offers for too. Now, we signed Orovec for a few £1 million a few years ago. 4.2 million. Got two offers here. One is 13 million from Brentford. Brentford, can you do 15? 15 and I'd be a very, very happy camper. Especially if we could have a little bit of profit. They only want to pay 13. I feel like I've just got to take it. Sociedad have also bid a similar amount, kind of that 13 million amount, but they want to do it in clauses. I'll try and negotiate it all up front with them. They didn't like that. And Hanover have locked in 5.75 million. I feel like Hanover aren't that serious about getting him, are they? No offers for Hansen is a little bit annoying. Apparently his wage demands are a bit too high. What did we sign this guy for? 500k. I feel like any money we sell him on for is quite good here. I know I should be over it. I'm just sat looking at Ngomez's profile again. You know, it's like having a picture of your ex on your side of your table or something. I keep looking over at him, just making sure he's still there. The bloke's on £525,000 a week. And that's after tax. They don't do tax in Saudi Arabia, apparently, according to Football Manager. I mean, he's secure in the bag, isn't he? No offers for Karim Konate. I feel like he's just staying now, isn't he? I thought we were going to get 37 million. I was going to be well happy, and instead, he's still... I say that like he's a bad... Like, he's quite a good striker to have around, really. We don't need to sell him. I just thought that would open up an opportunity for Sinkule. But if Konate's not going around, maybe I need to loan out this bloke again. Rodriguez turns down Leicester. I mean, we knew it was going to happen. It doesn't make it any less annoying, does it? If I am committing to this system with the roaming playmaker, the immediate concern in terms of signings has to be just a depth centre attacking mid player, I think, at this point. We have Gilliland who can do that job. We have Anderson who can do that job. And of course, we've got some good attacking options in the likes of Areko and also Sinkule and Kanate. But none of them can play centre attacking mid. At least not well. I mean, you could play Sinkule there. He's probably not going to shine. I'd love to get in a really good backup, I think, to Misiak and Shelik. I'm looking here at players I've got scouted. The mix and match of some players' positions here are puzzling. Edgar Donald here, not a bad player, 21 years old, 17 caps for the Netherlands, great player, can play centre mid. To be honest, he'd probably be a better centre back. Definitely not a £90 million player, but the positions he can play are weird. And then the other player who I was just looking at is Maria here. This guy is actually a really good kind of centre mid who could play as a centre attacking mid as well. 23 years old, he can play right back and left wing. It just doesn't make sense. Who taught him to play right back when he's left footed? I guess you could play him as an inverted wing back, but 10 tackling. It just doesn't make any sense. He is a very, very good player, and my scouts like him a lot, but release clause of 97 million for a backup centre attacking mid, who I'm not sure is actually that great at centre attacking mid. It's just quite a steep price to pay, isn't it, for a backup? The irony isn't lost on me that the next player down in terms of the centre attacking mids under the age of 21 is Pelagata. I don't want to bring Pelagata back, no. If I wanted to go out and sign another young option, I could go with someone like Ronchi, but his current ability just isn't quite there. I want someone who's going to push potentially into the first team, I think. Marcos can technically play centre attacking mid. I've looked at this guy before, haven't I? He is another player where what he can play just makes no sense. Sebastian Kurland, anyone? Sebastian Kurland probably shouldn't just bring him back after I sold him for 25 million last year. If you're wondering, how did he do for Paris FC? 6.73 rating. Think we did well to get the money we did. If I wanted to sign another young option, I could go with Tyson Caruso here. This 19-year-old I have had on my radar for a little while. I think he's part Australian, maybe? Yeah, part Australian. Really sad how you remember things like that about fictitious footballers, isn't it, when you play Football Manager? He looks like he could be a good player. He has a lot of potential and is rated really, really highly. If I brought him in, he's not exactly going to strengthen the first team immediately, but longer term, he could be a really good player with game time. I feel like he kind of falls into that similar box as Gilliland, though, where he's probably not going to be your first choice, amazing backup centre attacking mid option. And if he is, you know you're going to be weak there. But if you stick with him, he's probably going to be worth it. I do like the look of him. I hate that I like the look of him too. I am just now looking at centre attacking mids sorted by value who are 23 and younger. Surprised there's not more better players. At least, well, there might be better players, to be fair. They might just not want to join me. If I untick this, do loads of players pop up. Okay, a few more players do pop up when I do that. Oh, tell you what, sliding Roberto Estrada, that'd be a big balls move, wouldn't it? That would be like getting your gonads out on the desk and exerting dominance over Liverpool. I believe, they finished 6th last year, Liverpool, so they didn't even get Champions League football. Do any of their players want to leave? Do you want to come to me, Brad? Brad, are you interested? Thing is, they're never going to sell him to me, are they? 181 million, I can't afford it. Just looking at Liverpool's team, I'd never really noticed before how old certain parts of their team are. Their defence is old, their midfield is not getting any younger. Obviously, they have still got some very, very good young-ish players. But I wonder if they're going to struggle a bit in the near future. I'm now looking at slightly older centre attacking mid options, still looking for players 27 and younger. Obviously, Alexi is on the list. No one's made a bid for him since we failed to negotiate with him. Kylian Maquette here is not a bad little player at all. 26 years old. That valuation's quite high, though. We can't afford him. Malay here is 25 years old. He actually has a release clause of 72 million. He plays for Lyon. He's not a bad player. He's not a £72 million good, I don't think. Yaroslav Okaj here wants to leave Spurs. I'm not surprised. They nearly got relegated last year. He's unhappy at the club. I mean, his valuation is just going to make him difficult to sign. And when you look at his actual performances, I have to question, what are Tottenham doing with this guy? He is absolutely insane. What position are they playing him in? I assume it's like some kind of defensive midfielder role, which makes absolutely no sense because he's absolutely immense going forward. Ollie Moroz here has an amazing name, model citizen personality, super consistent, loves import matches. This is the kind of guy I can get behind. As a bit of a super sub option at centre attacking mid, I feel like he could do the business. It has really, really good physicals. He's pretty young by all accounts, and I feel like he isn't going to cost an arm and a leg. I like him. I really, really like him. I was just looking at him in this list here. I mean, there's a few other players here. Another player at Porto, Jorge here, not as good. Pascual, are you any good? I mean, he's quite good too. How much is he going to cost me? 283 to 339 million. I'll put him on the maybe pile. Alan Conceição Silva. I remember looking at this guy when he was playing in Qatar. Can you remember that? He had outrageous wage demands. He's been at Dortmund the last couple of years. He's not a bad player by any means. I feel like, again, his valuation, 120 to 140 million. I can't afford that, funnily enough. Just having a little bit more of a look through all these players that we've already got scouted. There's some very good players here, but to be honest, I'm still thinking back to the Porto youngster thinking, you are the one. I like him. Ollie Moroz. It's a fun name as well, isn't it? Ollie Moroz. His agent reckons he'll cost between £57,000 and £69,000. I think I have to do it. I like it. I really like him. I think he's very good. Just as a little bit of a comparison here, and Goma, of course, was kind of our go-to backup centre attacking mid last season. Ollie Moroz, by comparison, it's just a massive upgrade in all the right areas. If there is a downside with this guy, it's probably his lack of flexibility, but 57 million, just going to bid that, and they're going to accept it. I'm cool with that. Now, another area of the team where I might want to add some strength, especially if Gonzalo Rodriguez does leave us, is the defensive mid department. Right now, when it comes to defensive mids in the team, these are the options that we've got. We've got Ichikawa, Rodriguez, Anderson, and João Victor. João Victor is kind of good as an absolutely kind of emergency defensive mid. He is also homegrown at club, so we need to keep him around for that. But I feel like we could maybe get in a slightly better option there, potentially. Obviously, we know this year that the centre mid position is probably going to be more important if indeed we do stick with it. So yeah, I feel like a young centre mid, slightly more defensive in nature, could be the order of the day if there is someone out there. Oh my God, this guy's very good. Alan Chiachiri. What a fun name as well. 25 years old, Brazilian, plays for Manchester United. I know he's injury prone and super doesn't like important matches. He's very fun, isn't he? And the name's fun too. I think he's going to be too much, isn't he? 115 to 170 million. It's too much. I'd love to sign Kovacic. Remember, I was going to sign this guy, wasn't I? I remember telling you all about that like 10 times during the season just gone. I could have signed him for 1.4 million. I can't bring myself to spend £200 million on him. Just looking at younger defensive mid options, Carlos Osse here really stands out. He's 18 years old. You can see it, bags of potential. He is maybe not as good when it comes to current ability as I'd be looking for ordinarily, but he's currently unhappy at his club. He's valued very highly. Who wants him? Manchester United want him. Manchester United, if they want him, he must be good. Oh, he's very good, isn't he? He could be a very good long-term defensive midfielder option, I think. He does have the traits, get forward whenever possible and get into opposition area, but even so, I feel like it's just worth a punt. It's probably not even the defensive midfielder I'm looking for, I'll say, but just as an option to bring in a bit of depth. I mean, he's immense, isn't he? He's got mad potential too. Okay, the offer for Moroz has been accepted. Apparently Liverpool are interested in him, which is a little bit concerning. He wants to be an inside forward. I can't promise him that. He wants to win a domestic cup. I probably could promise him that, but I'm not going to try. I would love it if he'd agreed to be a regular starter. Yeah, I didn't think he'd agree to that. If I get rid of the other two, I think we can sign him as an important player. As part of the rotation, he will get minutes. Why does he want £200,000 a week? Right now, Celik is on £200,000 a week, and then NDIA is the next highest earner. And, I mean, if we compare Moroz with Celik, why does he want so much? I was thinking if it was around 140,000, I could stretch to it. We are so far apart in our valuations here. I know there's not a load of centre attacking mid options out there, but the thing is, if I'm going to pay someone this much on wages, I'd rather go out and spend £100,000 on a centre attacking mid rather than trying to sign a backup. He really wants 200,000. Can we do 150? 150 is really hurting me. If I lock in 160, what does he say? Oh, I don't think he's worth it. I'm going to negotiate it if I can. I might not even be able to negotiate it, in which case I'm going to be saved. Football Manager saved me from making an error twice today. He's good, isn't he? He's not that good. not as a backup for us. Okay, this is a negotiation I do want to make sure we get right. Ossé here, he wants to be a regular starter then, an important player. I can't give him that, but I can sign him as a squad player for the here and now. His wage demands are reasonable. He does want all these wage increases after he plays a certain number of games and a yearly wage rise. I don't like either of those, but we can afford to give him, I think, £70,000 on a 5-year deal. It's a lot of money to give him, but I think he's just worth it, this guy. £71,000 a week, professional personality, okay determination, really high potential. Bit concerned about the injury proneness, but given the fact he's going to cost us £12 million, it just makes sense, doesn't it? I'm looking here through the options that my scouts are recommending. There are actually some players here that I don't recognise. Obviously, Alex and Edgy we've already looked at. Ramiz Gashi, this guy, Kosovoan, 19 years old. He looks very good, doesn't he? He looks really good. Physicals are good. Mentals are good. Staff think he's got really good potential. £48 million for him. Why am I tempted? Milan signed him for £2.3 million a couple of years ago. He's not even played well for them. He looks good. I think it's just I'm looking at his physicals and getting distracted. He's one of those players who I wouldn't sign now, but definitely keep your eye on him. It wouldn't surprise me if he pops up in the future as a really great player. Cesar Vasquez here, 20 years old. Not a bad option. Could he play centre attacking mid for me? Maybe. I don't think it's really what he's made to do. Doesn't really make the most, does it, of his heading or his jumping. Richard Ishola here, 19 years old, Nigerian international, currently plays for Ghent. He looks very, very good. Who's made bids for him? Fulham have made a bid of £13 million. He's one of those players who looks good, but I look at his mentals and there's a bit of a question mark there. And also, he's a striker, and I don't really need a striker right now. Tell you what I want to do. I want to compare him with Kanate, just because I think he's a similar mould of player. Not that Kanate's leaving the club anymore. Yeah, Kanate's just better, isn't he? Daya Bayraktar. I hope I've said that correctly. I think this must be another Turkish name. I feel like there's a lot of English-Turkish players in my save game. Obviously, we've got a similar player, I suppose, in Çelik. I'm saying all of that just because his name looks Turkish. Turkish viewers out there will let me know. I might just be ignorant and being an idiot, but he looks like a very good player, this guy. 18 years old. Allegedly has 5-star potential. If there was no other transfer targets out there, I might sign him. But I feel like there definitely should be more options out there. He's a good player, but he's just not worth that kind of risk. He's the kind of player who could be that 1 in a million English striker that you sign. It's just, you know, the really good, overpowered English striker every save game has. But when I look at his current ability, I don't even know if he'll fulfill his potential. He's not worth 60 million, that is for sure. I really don't need a right back, but this guy's good. I don't need a right back. Gruber, if you needed a right back, and you're in my universe, any managers out there, this guy could be the man for you. I don't need him. Daniel Dimitrov here, Bulgarian international at 18 years old. He looks quite good, doesn't he? Super consistent performer, available for really cheap. Oh, God, why am I tempted? Why am I tempted? He's listed as the key player for Botev Plovdiv here. I feel like for that price, he might just be worth a punt. I mean, he's a centre attacking mid. He's not the centre attacking mid I need, but he's kind of just the one that I want. Can I get him for £2 million? I can. I probably could have got him a little bit cheaper, but we're talking hundreds of thousands of pounds. I can deal with that. The last few years, we've not made the most, have we, of signing youth players? Of course, you have that limitation on young players that you can sign, and we can sign more. I've kind of resisted doing it. Maybe I need to do it more. Maybe I should go and sign Mateus. Remember Mateus? We were looking at him a few years ago and he didn't want to join me. He can't play centre attacking mid, but I could just train him to play there. I really liked the look of this guy when we looked at him before. He is a very good player. I suppose the issue with him is he might have already fulfilled his potential. Brazilian international. I bet he's best friends with right-back Alex, isn't he? Alex, do you know this guy? Is he a good friend of yours? Did Alex play for Flamengo? I don't think he did. He did. He played for Flamengo with Alex. Is it bad that I just want to sign him for the storyline? You know, the friends, they grew up together. I'm doing it. I don't need Mateus either. I don't even know if he's going to be worth the money, but I feel like the narrative's there. I wanted him last year and he wouldn't join me. He now wants to join me. He wants to be a regular first-team player. Okay, we can promise him regular starter. How much money did our staff think he might want? What was the prediction? 116 to 165,000. That's a lot of money. I'll give him 100,000. I don't even play with wingers. I'm just signing him for the narrative. I'm just signing him to be this fun wingy option for us. 110. Please do 110, Mateus. I want you to rejoin your friend Alex. We could play him at right attacking mid with Alex behind him. Think of the story. It's being ruined here. Okay, I'll just give him more money. I really don't want to give him as much money as he's asking for. 120,000. I'll give you a goal bonus as well, a big goal bonus. Look, Mateus, if you want to be this mad goal-scoring player for us, you can bankrupt the football club. How does that sound? If he plays for Brazil, I'll give him a load of money as well. And should I give him some more stuff? Seasonal landmark assists. 25 assists, I'll give you £2 million. How does that sound? He loves it. I've given him far too much there. I've got caught up in the moment, haven't I? The other man I wanted to sign in, Dimitrov, is a really good player. He wants to be a squad player. I don't know if I can promise him squad player. I say that. I can promise him it and then just break the promise. I feel like that's the best way to approach things in Football Manager this year. You know, it's better to beg for forgiveness than to ask for permission or something. Is that how the phrase goes? I feel like it's something like that. It definitely doesn't apply to all cases, but in this case, I think it probably does. £60,000 a week for Daniel here. That is not cheap, but sometimes I feel like you just got to grit your teeth and do it. First game of the season, by the way, is in a few weeks' time. In fact, it's in 4 weeks' time. Arsenal Community Shield. If you're wondering, Jack, what signings have we done so far? None. No, okay, that's not true. We have done one. We signed Dennis. It's not an exciting sign, but we got a backup goalkeeper in. Karim Kanate is unhappy because he wants a new contract. Mate, you're 31 years old. You've got 3 years left on your current deal. I'm potentially looking to sell you and you're asking for a new contract. It's like he wants me to show him out the door. My current contract doesn't really reflect the player I've become. Mate, you're regressing. You're 31 years old. We can't afford to offer you a new deal. I'm not going to change my mind. I'm probably going to have to sell him. I was thinking of selling him anyway, so maybe this is a good thing. Although maybe it'll mean that teams try and get him for cheap, which would be annoying. I love the fact all these players I was inquiring about that were hundreds of millions of pounds, their agents have come to me and gone, we heard you were interested. I was interested, then I saw the price tags. Kanate's agent, by the way, doesn't think there's going to be any interest in him. Can an intermediary find any interest? No. Valencia have made a bid for Gonzalo Rodriguez. He has no interest in joining them. They're taking the piss anyway. They've bid 26 million. They are having a giraffe. I'm going to offer out Rodriguez for an unspecified amount just to see if we can drum up any interest. Just curious to see what bids we might get. If only he could have joined Leicester for that 47 million. That would have been good, wouldn't it? Al Ittihad, by the way, have just made a £73 million bid for Gabriel Martinelli. He's 34 years old. They've bid 70. That's ridiculous, isn't it? They have too much money in Football Manager. Okay, Frankfurt have outlined intentions for Rodriguez. Come and make a bid then. Souleymane Kamara is going to be joining Real Betis. That is a good offer for us. It was Betis, right? He was interested in. Yeah, it is. I really should install the real name fix, but I'm just too lazy. Kind of was hoping we might get more for him eventually, but given the fact we signed him for £70,000 and he just hasn't developed, 27 million, still some really good money. Thank you for the memories, Kamara. Thank you for adding to our transfer budget. Look at the money. Maybe I'll go back in for Alexi. It's tempting. Came into this episode saying I needed a new centre attacking mid, a new, defensive, creative centre mid. Instead, we've got 3 young players joining us. It's a great success. Still no interest in Kanate, which is annoying. Mateus, awaiting a work permit. I think I've got to sign this guy. I know I don't need him, I just want him. And in some more news here, I've had offers for Gonzalo Rodriguez, who, by the way, is now valued even more highly than he was before. Those bids, 26 million and 20 million. I'm just going to reject them. I mean, at this point, I'm thinking Rodriguez has 3 years left on his current deal. If I can't get a bid that's worth the same amount that he is worth, why sell him? Like, he'll be a very good player to just have on the bench this year. Maybe I don't sell him. If the interest isn't there and I can't get near 50 million, there's no point in letting him go for less. Happy days. Mateus set to sign for us. I've wanted this guy for a little while. He's a bit of a luxury signing. I'm doing it. You can't stop me. Yes, I have just signed a winger, and we don't play with wingers. Don't question it. Now, the question becomes here, do you train him to play as a centre attacking mid or as a striker? Like, if we train him as a centre attacking mid on attack, he could definitely do that role. Or do we train him to play as an advanced forward, which he could also definitely do? I kind of think advanced forward. I think advanced forward. It's annoying because I needed a centre attacking mid more, but I think he definitely has a bit of striker energy about him. I do like him, though. Not that I'd ever admit this, but I do also just want to sign him because he came through the Flamengo Academy with Alex. In fact, what year did Alex generate at Flamengo? 2031. What year did Mateus generate? Was it 2031? It was the year before. Would have been great if they came through the same class together, wouldn't it? Joffrey Rassett is leaving the club for £3 million. Was hoping we might get more for him, but we signed him a long time ago for £64,000. We've made profit. It's taken a while to get there, but it is money made. I'm being reminded about the fact that Patrick Com exists. Do you remember this guy? We looked at him, I think, back when we were in the Championship, and he was available for peanuts after Mans got relegated. He's now still available from Mines. 37 million is a lot, isn't it? It is a lot. He can play centre attack in mid, though. Actually, how does he compare with Mateus? That's now what I'm wondering. Mateus, where art thou? Mateus is in blue here. Mateus for 15 million is a great deal. The more I'm looking at it, the more I realise I'm a genius. Has also just dawned on me, realised not sold Lucas Schumacher, have I? Still need to get rid of him. Unai Emery has been hired as Liverpool manager. What a cursed timeline. He left Aston Villa to go to Juventus in 2027. He won the Conference League with Villa, to be fair. Fair play to him. He's had a reasonably successful career in Serie A. And now he's gone to Liverpool. Going into this summer, I did sit thinking, maybe I can get the whole summer transfer window done in one episode. You know, maybe that is possible this year. Safe to say that as I sit here continuing to record now, that is a spectacular failure. We are not going to get this all done today. In fact, I'm beginning to think that sooner rather than later, we need to wrap things up. Matthew Martin has a bid for him. We signed Matthew Martin for 8 million. And when you look at his current ability stars and his potential ability, he was just an early bloomer who deceived us. This sale here to Stoke would guarantee us profit and also a sell-on should he go on to develop. I think I'm going to accept that. Elsewhere, Ayrton. Remember Ayrton? We signed him for cheap a few years ago. Less than £1 million we paid for him. He is potentially on his way to Hull, awaiting a work permit. That'd be £3.5 million if that goes through. And speaking of sales, Orovec is leaving the club to join Brentford. We're getting £13 million for this guy. It's some good, healthy profit, if nothing else. We signed him for £4.2 million. Just hasn't really shown enough development or promise, but we've made money, so I can't be upset. Does anyone else just justify all their young punts that don't work out as, well, we made money at least? You know, maybe I signed Orovec thinking he'll get in the first team. I know he hasn't achieved that, but at least we got some money in the bank. Also, no one wants Schumacher. Can someone please buy Schumacher? Apparently Real Madrid are interested. Real, come on, make a bid. He would be a great fit for your squad. Okay, Daniel Dimitrov is going to be joining us as well. £2 million for the Bulgarian youngster. I like the look of this guy a lot. Has some really good potential. Super consistent. Definitely more creative centre attacking mid option. Given the fact he expects to be playing often, we might be backing ourselves into a corner here. Could potentially look to loan him out maybe. I don't know. We can deal with that problem when we get there. Also, Lee Min is going to miss the start of the season. I'm fuming. Oh, that wasn't a pun, by the way. Fuming. That wasn't meant to be a pun. But I am fuming. Yeah, that's bad. That's annoying. At least we have good left backs. I mean, in terms of what I do in this situation, I think the most logical thing is to move Alex to left back, given the fact that he has got a good left foot anyway. Then you can just bring in Mosquera at right back. I feel like Mosquera and Alex are very good wing back options. Obviously, NDIA could technically come in at left wing back, but to be honest, the more I look at NDIA, the more I've kind of just decided he is just that ultimate utility man at the back. He probably is best actually as a centre back, given his jumping reach and his ability in the air. I know he can't really tackle or mark or stuff, but he's got the mentals, hasn't he? And also, he's super either-footed, so he can just do everything. Now, like I just mentioned, I did think that this episode was going to be kind of a single summer transfer window, but given the fact there's still 3 weeks left of the window, and I am nowhere near done with all the business and stuff, I think there's going to be more transfer stuff to do tomorrow. We've still got Matthew Martin, who might be leaving the club for 8 million, and Ayrton potentially leaving for 3.5. If we sell those players, we're going to have in the region of £150 million to strengthen the squad. And with the exception of Carlos, who we're still waiting on a signature for, there's still lots of money to burn on players. I've just realised he's injured. What's the injury? A groin strain. He's already injury prone. Should I be signing this guy? He's got a few major injuries. I say they're major. They're 4 weeks. Is it that major? I feel like it's not a major injury. It's just a little major injury. Carlos, would you sign this guy? Oh, I'm having second thoughts now because he's got injured again. I feel like I don't need him, but for 12 million, it's just good vibes. Today's transfer special has been a weird one. I feel like we've done a little bit of spring cleaning, getting a few more players sold, generating some really nice funds. This is the first year where I feel like it's been easy, since we got to the Premier League at least, to move on players. We've sold £113 million worth of players. I think there's still a few more we need to let go too. I keep getting ready to end today's episode and then just going off on another tangent. So let's just draw a line in the sand and end things here. Thank you so much for watching this video. Let me know what you think of the tactical shift with Balta moving into the midfield. I think this is the best way just to make the most of the pieces that we've got. Whilst we've not really strengthened the first team yet, I don't feel like we need that many major additions to the team. I think we've got a really good, strong squad. I think maybe it's about signing 1 or 2 world-class players and then some prospects for the future. We've got almost £150 million to make that happen. Hopefully tomorrow we do make that happen. Thank you so much for watching as always. I'll see you guys again tomorrow for more Park to Prem action. And until then, take things easy. It's me, Jack, and I'll talk to you guys in a bit. I'm out.